Good afternoon. As you know, when I do my service to the United Kingdom for my malfeasance as a unlicensed doctor, I did say I was sorry. There's no jail time. You owe them a favour, though. So here I am. They do know I am a clinical psychiatrist, but I work with chickens, chickens. They read my book, and I'm still quite angry about Dr. Phil stealing a whole chapter plagiarized. Chickens don't say hurtful things. That's why people have them as pets. They're much easier to take care of than a dog or a cat. They can be quite noisy sometimes, but if you free-range them, as I was teaching the people here in Iran, I was called by a farmer here in Iran. I wasn't allowed to come into the country. I asked, but they didn't want me here. They said, not only do they not have any problems here in Iran, like in America, in terms of subjugating their citizens in a harsh way, which is kind of funny, but then again, I couldn't argue with them. They did say they do not have chickens that say hurtful things anyway. And if they did have one that did, they would just kill him and eat him. What the hell? But I thought to myself, how sad. They would not ask for help, being a chicken and all in Iran. So there I was. One farm after the next, I was helping them. If they're happy chickens, hens especially, why, they'll give you all the eggs you can handle, and be happy about it. But I'll tell you, I mean, even the chickens are cool. The chickens, they just walk around the yard like. One even acquired human speech. Human speech, not very well, because their beaks can only do this. No lips, no lips. But a lot of times you can tell, like how a parrot talks. They can do it. Most of the time, it's like saying, "Don't, you're walking on my food," because they eat all the bugs in the ground. No ticks. You won't have ticks around your house. Now, so as you see, I'm in that interrogation tent, much like the one in the Himalayas. It's a cheap tent that they put together. They said they got it from FEMA, Iran. But in any rate, that's where we are. I'm waiting to be interrogated again. They don't like the fact that anyone's saying anything negative about their country, including about their chickens, but their chickens need help here. I don't know why they're sad, and they are saying hurtful things. See, when you're sad and hurting, you want to hurt others. The chickens are no different than people. It doesn't take the greatest psychiatrist there is, for animals, that is, like myself. I could have made a whole lot more money being a human psychiatrist. I said psychiatrist. I do have a medical license. I'm not allowed to even write a script anymore. As you know, what happened and why I was even doing the service to, various farmers. But see, even in my work as service for the United Kingdom, the ambassador told me, Hugh said, "We can't help you. You entered that country illegally. And you're an American citizen. You're not even British." I said, "Well, I know that, I know that. But can you help me anyway?" Well, they said they're working on it. So here I am. I'm waiting to be interrogated again. I try to pass my time having fun. One time I was doing my impression of Charles Nelson Riley. Maybe you're too young to remember who that guy was. Maybe you watch retro TV, Hollywood Squares, but Charles Nelson Riley, he was one of those weird characters. And he talked like that. Oh, and he always did. Oh. Every time he talked like that. Oh. I don't know. Oh. I was also on a TV show called The Ghost and Mrs. Mueller. Oh. I played the landlord. Oh. Sold him this haunted house. This lovely blonde. Oh. But I did that, and when I was doing the impression, one of the guards came in. Oh. I said, "What do you want, you pig?" Oh. And he said, Do not call me a pig. It's an insult to me. I only came here to give you some French fries. We have a McDonald's next door. It is Iran. We're not animals here. So he gave me the food. McDonald's food. I thought it was kind of strange. For next to 25 cents. He said he'd have his wife do belly dancing for me while I ate the chicken McNuggets. Notice it's chicken McNuggets. I told him I can't eat a chicken because I treat chickens. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to tell them I can't help you. I'd love to help you with your sadness, but I'm kind of eating your kind. I eat chicken, I can't do that. You see, they won't open up to me. The chicken won't open up to me and tell me what his problem is. So, there you are. There was the Charles Nelson Riley. I mean, when I was younger, I used to do even more impressions. Did John Wayne, but everyone does John Wayne. That's, Bell Grump, anyone can do John Wayne. All right, but Charles Nelson Riley, that was always my favorite, mocking. I love doing the ex-President Clinton. I always said he was my favorite. He was so cool. You gotta like him, There he is. He's going, I feel your pain. You can't help but vote for a man who's so cool. And who can blame him, really? I mean, Hillary, what's going on with that, But there you go. There was Clinton, and then, Nixon, I'm not a crook. Remember that ass? Somehow he didn't have the power Trump did to get away with his malfeasance. But it's not up for us to judge. I'm a firm believer God puts people in these positions. We didn't vote. God made that happen. And I also look at it this way. It could be wrong. You see, I know God does chastise. He does chastise just for direction. Not only do we have this virus, but we have a virus for a president. I can't blame him. I'm not judging him or blaming him. I'm just saying he's symptomatic of what our society has become and what our society thinks it looks like or should look like. It's just ridiculous. And then make your politics, your personal identity is ridiculous too. But everyone thinks their ideas are everyone's ideas are basically the same. When you show a Republican how immigrants are treated, you would say, no, this is not my. We can do better than this. We can do better than this. Sure, there might be caravans coming to. I agree with that. There's a stop to everything. There's order. But we're intelligent enough to make a better way of doing it. We can come up with Japanese concentration camps during the Second World War and do that job real good. I believe they canceled out the Constitution for that one too. In the name of safety, you give up your constitutional right. And I said this before. You neither have the right to have a country, let alone have a constitution, because you start picking at it and say, oh, now it's time to get rid of this one just to get rid of that one because I'm scared. Or I have some disillusionment with thinking that somehow a whole race of people all have the shared, like a hive, a beehive collective thought. But that's racism. No, it's white supremacy. Yeah, you don't paint, a naval ship is painted gray. They painted them all white right before Pearl Harbor just to get into their space there in Japan, the Sea of Japan there. Didn't do any fighting, just pass by. All sailors in dress white, just saluting, right there on deck. White cutters, they didn't, I don't think there was a battleship. There could have been. Most of them were just, but they painted them white just because they knew. They knew, Other people other than white people are capable of supremacy thoughts too. And they had that going for them. Very strange. But there's always a reason for everything. And it always boils down to one thing. It's not force and might. It's who has the force and might in commerce. It's all about commerce. Commerce and free flow of it. Now we've just given up that whole region in Asia to China by Trump's business of moving our interests out and non-supporting what we used to have there. Now, all the battles from the Second World War, all those veterans did that for nothing. In terms of commerce, that is. Freedom, that's another story. There was a very good reason. They caught it, but they had to hold on to it. Or another country takes it, and China took it. A Korean War veteran would be pissed off at China too. A lot of them came at him during the Second World War. It wasn't North Koreans coming at him. It was China, and they're experienced troops, and there's millions of them. But the bottom line is, we just gave it up to him. Thank you, President Trump. For a genius businessman, you are stupid. And even the other presidents before, during this war with Afghanistan and the region thereof, and there's a lot of land travel routes as well that were all given to China. All that fighting we did just to take a secure routes. And you notice they're not secure for people. It's secure for business corridors, not corridors of towns and people living in farms, but corridors for business. Pardon me. A free flow of that. Wait, excuse me there. Someone's lit. Excuse me, sir. I have to talk this way. God knows, they think I'm an American. They think I'm British. Now, excuse me, sir. Were you listening to me? No, I didn't say Timmy. It ain't about Timmy. Oh, yes. You agree with what I said. And you've recorded me. You want me to sign it. Sign what I said. I'd be happy to. It's the truth. It's the truth. I'll also have you know, if I was an American, I would have the right to petition what's left of our government to change it back to a constitutional country starting with the Supreme Court. We would have a real one. Not of political hacks, but real, honest-to-goodness judges like you have here in Iran. Yes, we do. They're all honest. I love you, no. Because you're being so courteous to us, we'll let you go. As long as you say you're sorry for coming into our country illegally. Well, I certainly, another chance to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry I entered your country illegally. But you have to understand. Sad chickens are nothing for you to feel that makes you weak. What makes you strong is a healthy chicken, right? More eggs, more chickens. Feeding your people here, your Persians as you're called. Persians. There's a bad word for you people. I'm not going to use it. It has to do with sand. I'm not going to say it. I'm not one who believes in calling people names. I did not like being called a hunky either. That was rude. It was rude. I did not like that. Your Ayatollah would not approve. You're supposed to treat me with respect. As a good Muslim, I am your guest. I did enjoy the ice cream. Thank you. Very good ice cream. Oh, there's a Ben & Jerry's next door. Yeah, see that? I'm in the middle of nowhere, and there's a Ben & Jerry's next door as well. I thank you. Good coffee. Starbucks as well. All I know is why is Iran and our country at odds with each other? At the end of the day, I would want Iran as a partner because they're the one controlling everything now. They're the only thing that stands in the way of China. Actually, it's not us, it's China. It's Iran and China now. Iran really, they're fighting for territory. But more importantly, they're getting paid, man. Until then, China is paying a lot of money for this influence, they call it. Nation building is out. It's your influence, your corridors of business. No taxes, no, oh man, you control the trade routes of Asia. You got us by the you-know-what. That's why I'm running for president. One of my goals is, and I'm not kidding, and it takes a literal, we already showed people what happens when you have a bad president with change. Now you're starting from nothing. I'm going to encourage factory business in this country again, starting with textile, shoes, tools, heavy machinery, the machinery that makes machinery, this type of manufacturing. Getting back to cars, they can do what they want. There'll be a new car manufacturer coming up that is in partnership with the new laws of this country, which is free for them, free and unencumbered, but not unencumbered for safety. Everything like that is back in place. We don't work like China. We don't pollute our environment to make things. It's going to be the American way. I'm your man. So I'm free to go. All righty. I have to get my my son Jackson. He took off with Timmy before we were arrested. Have you seen my son anywhere? He's with a little puppet. He suffers from puppetitis. Have you seen him? Oh, he said they're doing stand-up at the town next door. Stand-up comedy. The Iranians love that too. I remember Jackson said he was doing the stand-up with Timmy, and he said a hookah, the hookah thing came towards him, and he said, well, I guess I should, or I'll insult them. So he started smoking this, this hookah. Well, between him and Jackson, I come walking down the street to go get him, and Timmy is like pulling Jackson down the sidewalk. Jackson's like, he's out of it. I don't know what they were smoking, but he was out of it. So, well, I'm going to sign off now. I don't know how this will go. It's just another beautiful June day, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. And I do like to talk about my travels, and it seems I get arrested everywhere I go. I don't know why. Maybe am I singing? I don't know. Ta-ta now.